Members, we heard a lot of discussion yesterday, certainly, about this bill. And we all know how important it is for our state and its communities to establish resilience against sea level rise, and we want to fund that effort. We also know how important it is to our state and its residents to ensure improvements to water quality by funding wastewater grants, and we want to support that effort too. But what we do not want is to fund these vital efforts on the backs of our essential workers who are in need of affordable housing, who put themselves and their families at great risk during this pandemic. We do not want to permanently cripple our state's ability to combat our affordable housing crisis by continuing to steal the dock stamp tax distributions from the trust funds they were intended to support, especially since the last 5 years of funding that this bill is supposedly based on were years during which the affordable housing was significantly underfunded and which helped contribute to our current crisis and the ability of our essential workers to find adequate housing. Yesterday, I withdrew an amendment that slightly tweaked the distribution formula presented to us by the Honorable Chairwoman Josie Tomko. Now, the amendment secured an additional $136 million, bringing our total minimum annual investment in affordable housing to $277 million. And we did that by reducing the distribution to the transportation fund by 6%. Now, why have I been focused on transferring funds out of the transportation fund? Well, simply put, because we can afford it. Members, you may recall my inquiry to Chair Williamson about the various revenue streams to the State Transportation Trust Fund. He mentioned the fuel tax, rental car surcharges, and other sources. So I went and I looked into these funding streams. And what I discovered is that during the most recent revenue estimating conference on March 24, we saw revenues into this trust fund rising significantly over the life of the transportation 5-year work plan. We saw fuel revenues increase by $46 million. The local option distribution increased by $3 million. Rental car surcharges increased by $44 million. Motor vehicle licenses increased by $39 million. Initial registrations increased by $26 million, and title fees increased by $13 million. Why does that matter? Well, it matters because it means this transportation trust fund is not going to be hurting for money. And it's become abundantly clear that we also don't need these toll roads to nowhere, which were created by the MCORS program. And, as you know, there are efforts currently underway to repeal those MCORS efforts. And President Joe Biden's federal infrastructure program will result in many more dollars coming to Florida to deal with some of those infrastructure needs. So when it comes to providing funding for our transportation, we may never have enough money, but the need to fund affordable housing is greater. That is not just a nice to have. Affordable housing is an urgent priority that deserves our attention and action through funding, not defunding, as we are doing in this bill. It is shocking. And I truly believe that all of us in this chamber do understand the need for funding the important priorities of water resilience and infrastructure, but we cannot do this on the back of workforce housing. This is not the solution, and I urge you to join me in pushing the red button against this very bad bill. Thank you, members.